Hello, this is Gerald Jovamas. I have defined very well how to find the points in space for some letters that are associated with that kind of orientation where we find really a certain coordination within a spatial frame. There are also directions that leads us away from a stable position, and then we still have an idea where to go to. That's also another way of thinking where you also have letters that are associated with it. However, how to use the last couple of letters as frames from a general focus to a local focus is something that I haven't defined actually quite enough. So we have to have some practice first before I make a real best solution of a definition for that. Because so far it's that part is still quite theoretical, and so I have to have some examples to show you how that works and how it doesn't work, and then we come to a little bit more defined theory how to use a frame or the framing from the last category of focuses which are looking for a definition, which is a very global definition, into a local context. And that's all explained as theory, but how to do so will also create a lot of difficulties how to find it. And it's quite easy to use points in space at that close by frame. There are other frames which are overlapping. The other one seems to be quite far away, and yeah, we can use it like that, we can associate it like that. But it doesn't still say like, okay, but how is the frame used? How are the associations, the connections really used? Is it limited to do so? Actually, it's better to limit it a little bit. It is especially more difficult and more important to do that well if letters are really very far away from each other, like one letter from the spatial orientation and another letter from that, let's say, far away frame. How do we connect them? Because there is no connection between them. Like in the B, a letter from the spatial frame, a point in space, and the R, which is a connection with the frames that are there, towards the from the local to the global part into a connection. How do we do that? Because that's just theory at this point, so I will do that. And with the B and the R words, it is especially important that we really know what we're doing. Because this is a problem already. There are no overlaps, so we don't really know very well how to orientate ourselves upon the spatial frame connected to the to these two frames from the orientation that is far away. So the R needs, according to the theory, a jump from the into the 1, 2, 3 focus, from the focus 2 to 3, so that it connects the things together into parts, so that it sees how the things are connected. So let's go first for B. That is quite easy, and they are within the frame of space. There are 3 regions. You have the first region, which is the center region or the starting region, depending on where you start. Also, you can also start from the bottom up and go up, or you can go from the center part, but it is always centralized. You use a centralized starting point with the ATK into that one focus. If it's a bit away from the focus, you come into the area of the body or the volume. And the last one is, of course, the border of your orientation, the edges, and at the same time, it's also associated with your limits. The B is in the middle, so it's the body. So let's have that frame where we orientate the B. There you have it. There you have our frame where we associate the letter B. Also a bit at the border of that region, so just where the point of 2 persons meet as well. You could also use it in that way. And you have a connection point from one surface, a body surface, and another body surface. And it is an area which is associated as points, as 2 points in one focus. 2 points means I always follow 1 point because that's my one focus. All the letters are about one focus. I focus into space. I have 2 points, but I will focus in general onto try to focus into one go immediately. So far, you can also have the diagonals added as well. There will be 2 diagonals, so it will be a breaching of the borders a little bit, extending, and so on. Movement is secondary, but you see that there is extension in the form. But you see it from one focus, from the middle focus, so that's what you see. Because it's going towards the middle, and it is going towards the borders, so it is also relevant to have an association, a formal association, as this forms. The B will follow these moves quite quickly, simply because of the orientations from one focus to these 2 points that show an extension into the diagonal. So you can have this form, which is the laying down form of the B as well. You could focus also more on the body if you like, because that's where you experience it from here. But the most important thing is, of course, the results are the edges, because it's going towards the edges with a certain filling in material towards the edges and the borders. Connecting them now with the R will be a bit more difficult then. So we could use the same spots as the B. You have the B starts from somewhere, and so we could use the same idea of the B, the B, into 2 parts, into the number 2 and number 3 from the 1, 2, 3 focus, and connect it. This idea is actually not connecting the B and the R. It's just like I use here 2 separated ideas. I have the B and the R, and I make the connection towards the last point. So theoretically, I would say, okay, yes, I'm using the same idea. I'm trying to connect it, and I get this doubling form a little bit as the R that goes towards that point of breach. But is it really a good idea to do so, and does it say something? So because now you have a contradiction of the breaking open of the B from one point of view, and then the feedback which tries to make connections to that point, but there's no cooperation visible, just like you have 2 areas that are not connected. I just make a connection, but what is that connection saying? Actually not much. There's not much cooperation, and it's also not connecting the idea what it is about, not yet, especially not from the global view to the local view, because what's the local view? Just that one point which is breaching. Where's that cooperation? You do so but that's not really connecting the dots well enough yet, because what we miss, it is actually correct that you have this slightly like that, but what you absolutely need always in this last category, this is all about vibrations, about resonances, and resonances means it is a reflection, and it reflects, and it responds, and it corresponds to what is going on below in the physical realm. So there has to be, it's like an echo. I mean, you can't design an echo on its own and see like, oh yeah, the echo is going towards me. No, the echo will adapt, and it will adapt as a vibration. So there should be visible, a cooperative resonance, a reaction, even in the R. The G is about resonances. All the letters are about resonance, all in a different way, but also the R to connect it should connect to the patterns that are below, and that's not what it's doing yet. It's going towards that one point but it's not repeating its patterns or adapting to its patterns yet. And that's important for in combining letters. It is connecting the qualities, the quality of B and the qualities of R should be, also in a responsive way, be connected during the connection, the connecting itself. So something of the qualities should be repeated and should adapt to each other. There's no adaptation here, it's just a reaction. I have a B and I have an R and they go towards each other and that's it. It's not enough. So I have to realize what I need for it, what I need to do. The R I say here, it's in the in-between zone of formation, so it's also about formation, so something should be formed there as well. In the global sense, I had a form that was trying to find a connection point, but the local frame of orientation, that's the thing that should be connected, not just to one point, but also to the qualities that come forward from that point. So where can I find actually the equivalent of that projection towards that point? Where is that point? What is that point about? That point is about materialization process. So I don't just simply have these borders and these borders expanding. It's an area. So I have to go to that area because I'm going to have to find a frame. I have to find the area of where the things are happening. It's the body. I need to find the body. So it can only be connected to the roots of where the material is changing, is showing its changes, it's showing its appearance of changes, and there it should be connected to. So how can we connect as a resonating vibration of R from the B onwards? The total area that we have to focus upon and where the results will be is defined as the in-between zone from 2 to 3, and where the 3 will be the end connection. It's that global area. According to the theory, it will be in that zone. But now I have to go from that first zone to the next zone. So where is that first zone? Actually, if you think about it, then you know, of course, where that first zone is where the B is pressing itself out. It's that physicality that has its borders within the physical realm. There's the starting point. You don't have just to go towards that starting point into one point alone. You have to realize that it's going to have to be a gradual departing from B and going towards R. The departing usually goes into a continuation of what is going on, as you have that in the time aspect. There is no time aspect involved here. There are no letters in between that show that time aspect, but otherwise they should be visible in that part that I have here now. Now there will be a continuation, so you have the B, and the B will continue. It will be applied. It will be applied to what the R is going to be. If I am already quite applied, I have these R's, which are always the adapting. This form of a spiral is actually always welcome as a representation of R, because it is gradually adapting towards other measurements, and that's that kind of spiral that I use for the R most of the time is very practical to use it in that way. So here I use this appliance to the vibration underneath, and I have until I reach the same point of B and try to connect it. So it's not connecting to the point alone, it's connecting to the vibrations that come forward from B, connecting towards that area in the zone between 2 and 3. There will be that connection gradually going towards this area. The B itself, we're still forgetting something. The B itself is is a breaching point, but it's not just breaching the area of the physicality as one surface, also one that has like in a ball you have that in one surface, but it is in this scheme. It's not just into one surface that you come to it. It's actually a kind of breaching surface, trying to breach surface. And if you go into the numbers, then the idea of the 1, 2, 3. 3 is the breaking point, is the changing point, the limiting point. So that it is also a breaking point. So what kind of breaking point is it? Therefore, we need the numbers as well. So it's the first level is 1, the second is 2, the third one is 3. And what you always have are 3 phases of each number. The first sounds are less than the number, the middle sounds are the number, and the last sounds are higher than the number. So it is going to breach its number, breach the number 2. So it's breaking into 2 and going towards more than 2. That's B. So the representation in between here in the combination of these vibrations is so it is breaking into 2, and if you even continue, it will also break into more than 2. And so then you have a form that will be much more a vibration in that way, like brrr. You realize it if you hear it, you can almost visualize it as brrr, brrr. So you have this breaking open, but it is as if the vibrations are interacting in that way, and there you can sense the brrr. And because it's have to continue in the diagonal sense as well, making a connection from the material to all the outer shell connections of where you can go to from a materialistic point of view, it wants to continue to break open and become more and more and more. So it splits its orientation, but it tries to find its vibration there as well into that frame. And then you have a kind of form which is like that. Breaking open but trying to get together again. It's that vibration in that sense, and there you have a better expression of brrr. So this is now presented without an inner volume, although I already said from the beginning we should also focus upon material. It's about material vibrating. Here it is that outer shell which we sense first. It's going towards that outer shell. If you would simplify it a little bit and present it as material itself, you can do that as well. I can present it a little bit more in an easy way like this, as this outer shell appearance, especially with a volume inside and with that focus. If I have that focus, I have some letters, for instance. You have brr, and I have some vocals inside. Okay, I have also a volume in it. I have a material in it. I can fill it in with a certain space, and I still have this surface. The br you can recognize there as well, and the r as well. So you have this breaching point simplified by this form actually, and I am now closer to how to use br as a sound in form, as a form that fits to the sound. It's not just in one go. I always have them in 2 goes as well. You always focus onto one pattern, but the patterns are breaking open and continuing. Here's the brr. And I will use one example, or no, I will use 2 examples to present you how you can associate this form further. Let's go to beer. With beer, it's the brr we have already, but in between it we should find also some vocal space. So there's a certain way to fill in the space in between. Beer has 2 kinds of sounds. You have the oral sound of E, and you have the written sound of and e. So let's go for E first. So what you're looking for orally is we're trying to find a place to apply a general rule, and I would like to put something local in it, something that we want to apply at a certain time and space. That's what we want to find in E between B and R. But it's written as E, so E plus E. E means a timing, so we are going to do that in a time process. With a double E, it says, okay, we're going to focus on the highlights of a certain time process where we want to insert something, or where we can find the things that are applied at the right time and space, so that we find in this formal thing that is forming itself the right ingredients, actually, that we think, or moments that are ready, or things that are already there, or that are developed well and at the right time, or ingredients that are developed well at the right time. That's all the association I can have. That's why the beer is perfect as a word there. What do I put in? I put here the same pattern in it as well, so that I have almost like I have bubbles and air from within. The second example, you have bear. Then, so here there's another vocal put in, another the volume itself, the body itself will develop itself a little bit different. You have the e first, which is also just one go of a certain highlighting quality that you take out, and the a itself, which goes from there, is quite physical. So the e with a combined, so you have that physicality. The physicality is bigger, and with the e could be part of a delay. So until you have these r fits okay with the bear claw or the bear paw, where the bear as e and a is the body. A is that kind of sound which I didn't explain much, but the bear air shows different parts that connect it together, and the R is again these connecting spiral-like forms at the end. So that also fits with that word. So in that way you can understand how this pattern of sound in form is used and associated and be found. Not always an easy task if you want to do that correctly, if you want to do that via theory. Intuitively, you can learn that actually quite more quickly than by following and understanding the theory completely, because just use words where you already know the results, and there you can recognize also where the qualities of the letters are and how they are connected, and that's also a good learning process to just see, okay, it's there. It's not a coincidence that they all match and work, because it's like it's almost like a geometrical corresponsive basis that I have here, and that our mind also uses to base ourselves upon, to orientate ourselves upon, that we can find our way at the most easy ways, just like you have it from the middle, so here to here, or from horizontal, vertical, diagonal. There are simple orientations, and these kind of simple orientations are the basis actually for all the letter orientations. So we will use them because they are the simplest forms to associate ourselves upon. Okay, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks again for watching. Bye.